Yvonne, are things returning to normal now?
Yeah, things have died down quite a bit here. You know, yesterday we saw all these protesters storm around this area to Carrie Lam's office. And now it seems like things have cleared out. The roads have reopened. And we just learned that the central government offices here are going to be reopening today now that traffic has been cleared. And over here, you're seeing things are a little bit sparse as well. I did a bit of a head count here. About 20 protesters are still kind of holding the fort here outside of Ledgeco. I was speaking to one of them on the way here. They said they decided to pause for now. There was a bit of rain here this morning. No word yet also on whether the chief executive, Carrie Lam, is going to be holding her normal Q&A session with the media today. But the police backing out on this reference of calling last Wednesday's violent clashes a riot, as you mentioned, is significant. Why is it important? Well, a lot of concerns among the protesters was that if it was considered a riot, that those who were arrested could actually face some tougher charges. So this could actually alleviate some of those concerns. It is a victory, but as you mentioned, there's still one of several requests that they have demanding Carrie Lam to step down and a full withdrawal of this extradition bill.
So, Yvonne, if Carrie Lam were to step down, how much of a blow would that be to Beijing? And I think observers, it seems, inside Hong Kong, outside, are just wondering how much that would be her own independent decision, independent of China, that is.
Well, it's tough to say whether it is her decision or not, because ultimately, does anything change, even if she does step down? If you take a look at the election process, yes, if she were to step down, for example, tomorrow, the Chief Secretary of Administration, Matthew Cheung, would step up. According to the basic law, which is the mini constitution here in Hong Kong, he could serve that role for up to 6 months. And during that process, this 1,200-member election committee will work to select a new leader. Keep in mind, though, within that committee, there are many political insiders here who likely will elect another Carrie Lam, so to speak, or some say a Beijing loyalist. So what's going to change? We asked that question to Joshua Wan, the student activist, and here's what he had to say.
No doubt that Chief Executive of Hong Kong might be the puppet of Beijing. That's the reason for us to organize the Umbrella Movement 5 years ago to ask for free election. It's time for us to deserve the vote to freely elect the leader of our city.
And finding that alternative is also quite tough as well. There's some people like Regina Ip or bringing back C.Y. Leung could be quite divisive. If you think about other members or names that people have actually brought up, like Jasper Zung, the former Ledgeco chairman, those say they might be a little bit more sympathetic to the opposition as well. So a lot of people are saying it's still wishful thinking to think that there is anyone better than Carrie Lam to do this job.
Yvonne, how has China's state media been portraying and reporting on the protests?
Yeah, it's been interesting, Paul. We've been looking at some of the newspapers in China. The one that came out yesterday from China Daily, some of the state-run media here, the headline raised some eyebrows. This is what I quote: Hong Kong parents took to the streets on Sunday in order to urge the U.S. to stop meddling in internal affairs. We also saw the Global Times take it one step further and actually put this whole Hong Kong issue with these trade negotiations with the U.S. and China. This is what they said here. The first time they actually connected the protests to these trade talks, which they have avoided all week. The Global Times saying that if Washington thinks playing the Hong Kong card can force China to make compromises in trade negotiations with the U.S., it had better think twice. The riots will only consolidate Beijing's tough stance against Washington. It's not just with the papers as well, Paul. We've seen when it comes to social media, if you go search for on Weibo, China's Twitter, and post some support for Hong Kong protesters, those posts are removed. Same goes for if you're within the firewall of China and on WeChat. And also when it came to that song that you hear sometimes during these protests, can you hear the people sing that, which has quickly become the anthem from these protesters here, from Les Miserables. That song has been wiped out if you go on Tencent streaming service QQ Music.